The Chief Executive of Community Clubs Victoria has written to the National Privacy Commissioner over concerns about the use of facial recognition technology in gambling venues. Now, facial recognition is increasingly being used to identify problem gamblers, but Andrew Lloyd, who it is worth noting represents clubs, so this isn't some anti-club activist, he himself is worried about venues, some of them apparently installing devices that don't meet Australia's data security and privacy guidelines. He told The Age he was concerned to hear that some venues are giving their self-exclusion files to third-party suppliers to process images and install these systems. Now, in the case of the gambling situation, you can put yourself on a don't play the pokies register, essentially. You can put your hand up and say, I'm an addict, I don't want to be given access to pokey venues where I'm going to lose my money. So it's then up to the venues to keep an eye on who is coming in and out, to keep those who have self-barred themselves from going into the venues. So now, Evelyn, a lot of these places have facial recognition technology that tells them if someone who is on the self-removal register comes in, they go and boot them out. But of course, the technology that some of them are using is sending this data to God knows where. It's being held for God knows how long. They essentially have to hand over the register to these companies, which has got, you know, potentially thousands of people on it and their date of birth and what their face looks like and all this other stuff. How can that be legal? And we saw the case recently of Bunnings was pulled in by the Privacy Commissioner over this, and they were sanctioned for using facial recognition technology without telling people. Then we talk about the social media age ban, which will come in late next year, which will potentially involve all of us having to use facial recognition technology to log onto Facebook or X or whatever it might be. This is becoming increasingly common, and yet we have no idea really where this data is going.
Oh, exactly. Honestly, that's one of the least of the problems of this. The precedent that this is going to set is absolutely terrifying. What's even more terrifying is that the opposition leader, and I don't want to be a huge critic of Dutton, but Dutton was out talking about using this exact facial recognition for the social media use for 16s and over. And when that's your opposition leader, like, you're stuffed. You're absolutely cooked as a nation. You'd think that there'd be... It's just two birds of the same feather at this point. And I think Alec Antic, like, I actually think he's fantastic. I think he would be a fantastic Prime Minister. And I think he said some amazing things during all these discussions. And one of the things that he said, which he so aptly said, and he said ahead of all of this, was it's just one brick in the wall of having like a social credit system.
Correct.
You know, you don't wake up one morning and go, oh, how did I get here? Like, here we are. Like, it's incremental things that happen over a period of time where you desensitise a population to these ideas. Once they're desensitised, then you normalise it. And the more you normalise things, the more people go, oh, it's just for gambling, so that's a good cause. Oh, it's just for this, that's a great cause. Well, and it builds and it gets worse. And then, you know, the bigger the government, the smaller the citizen.